And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We'll have our official basketball preview here on the Roundtable this morning, and we've got plenty of contributors along with us today. We'll have Terry McVeigh, Tommy Jacobs, and David Jenkins to talk about the boys' teams throughout the area, as well as Scott Nelson along with us to talk about the area's girls' teams. So a lot to talk about this morning. We'll also be talking to a handful of coaches in the Southeast Missouri area. We've got Brandon Blankenship should be in studio with us this morning, as well as Bernie's Brad Botch, Portageville's Jason Irby, Haytie's Philip Taylor, also Holcomb's Seth McBroom along with us over the phone, and also including Kenneth's Jim Vaughn. Jim Vaughn's going to be talking with us about his game over in the Riverbend Classic yesterday, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So a lot to get to today when it comes to Southeast Missouri's high school basketball preview. So we'll be getting into that in just a moment. But we want to get you involved in our show. Be sure to let us know about your comments, about anything going on, any discussions we're having. Send us your email, sports@yhctv.com. You can also use the SEMO Sports Zone email as well, sports@semosportzone.com. So send us your comments and get involved in our preview. So send them on to us. And let's take a look at some results that's happened over the last few days. And the fall sports schedule is getting wrapped up this weekend. The football state championships taking place in the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis this weekend. They had 3 of the contests yesterday. And taking a look at some of those matchups that took place in the Class 1 state championship, it was Valley Catholic falling to Hamilton Penny 60-34, and that game was a shootout throughout that game, and it was a close game there through pretty much the early fourth quarter, and at that point Penny just took over and had a couple long scores, and Valley Catholic just basically couldn't keep up at that point. So Valley Catholic fails in its bid to win a 3rd consecutive state championship, but a great season nonetheless, losing in the state championship. Penny just the better team this year with the Class 1 state championship. Now in Class 3, it says Class 2, but it's actually Class 3. It's John Burroughs falling to Maryville. Maryville with the state championship in Class 3, and it was 35-22, and that was a great game as well. And those are the games that took place yesterday, and they'll be playing, I think, Class 2, Class 4, and Class 6 today. So the fall sports will be coming to a close today, and we'll be going in full swing to the winter sports schedule when it comes to basketball, wrestling, and we'll be covering it all here on the Sports Roundtable. So look forward to it going in full swing now with the winter sports. And also the Riverbend Classic took place yesterday in the first of 2 days, and we'll get to those results. It was Charleston defeating Covington, Tennessee 81-66, and a great showing by the Charleston Blue Jays, the defending Class 3 state champions. We'll see how they fare today as well. We'll be getting into those games coming up for today as well. And other games, we have West Memphis of Arkansas defeating Kennett 74-53. And in the other game, it was North Little Rock, Arkansas defeating Scott County Central handily 99-57. And another game we don't have in there, that's New Madrid County Central victorious in their game with Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And I believe that game was, 63-50, if I'm not mistaken. New Madrid County Central victorious yesterday. Now, games to look forward to in the Riverbend Classic today. We have Pine Bluff, Arkansas taking on Kennett, Covington, Tennessee taking on Scott County Central, North Little Rock versus Charleston, and West Memphis, Arkansas taking on New Madrid County Central. So look forward to those games in the Riverbend Classic this afternoon in New Madrid. Always a great kickoff to the season there with the Riverbend Classic, and we'll be getting into a lot of games coming up this week as well, and we'll be getting into those in just a few moments. So let's take a break, and we'll be back with our first contributor. We'll have Scott Nelson. He's going to be along with us to talk about the girls teams in the area and what teams are going to have some good seasons ahead of them. So let's take a break and be back with Scott Nelson coming up.
My country takes of thee, sweet land of liberty.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
And now we're along with Scott Nelson. He's here to talk about girls basketball today. And Scott, it's good to have you back with us.
Man, it's good to be here. I tell you what, Tyler, basketball season is upon us, and it's going to be an exciting year in Southeast Missouri for girls basketball. I think.
Sure, it's been a great past couple years, especially when you look at teams in the upper classes. You know, Kennett made a run a couple years ago, and Dexter even made a run, and now Dexter's back in contention for a state title run, and Notre Dame's been competitive there. And taking a look teams up in Class 5, you've got Poplar Bluff, Jackson always competitive, and Sykeston's even coming on being competitive. So it's been enjoyable in the past couple of years to see the girls teams be competitive as they are.
Well, it really has been, and of course, getting to follow the Dexter girls like I do, we've seen a lot of good teams throughout the season. We've got to watch and a lot of competitive games. So really looking forward to the season, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Sure, it sure should. And you talked about Dexter, and they bring everyone back from their team last year, which made it out to the quarterfinal round in the state tournament, and they're looking to do as much or even more this year with their group coming back.
Well, they really are, Tyler. And, Coach Allen, 5 years ago, when the team back then made their run and got to the Final Four, he talked about, he thought that he probably should have beefed up the schedule a little bit for them, and he's done that this year. They've dropped some teams in the smaller classes around here and picked up another tournament down in Paragould, Arkansas, with a lot of real fine teams around Jonesboro playing in that one. They've added Webster Grove's going to go up in St. Louis and play a Saturday game. Probably the biggest game that they've added is going to go over to West Plains and play the Class 4 defending state champion Republic Lady Tigers. So, he's really beefed that schedule up, but for the purpose of really toughening up, getting ready for that state title run, hopefully.
Sure. And speaking of the contention is the Farmington Girls Invitational Tournament, and we've got the tournament bracket to bring up on that, so let's do that when we can. And this is a very competitive girls tournament each year that kicks off the season, and these are some of the top teams when you talk about St. Louis South.
Absolutely, one of the best preseason tournaments, just like you said, Tyler, St. Louis South. You got Poplar Bluff, Cape Notre Dame, Jackson, Farmington, who's always up there in District 2 in Class 4. They are always very competitive. Got a great coach up there. And, of course, Miller Career Academy, we haven't even said anything about them yet. They're the ones that knocked Dexter off in the state quarterfinals last year. A really good team. They did lose their best player, who was a 6'1" gal who could do everything. So, that tournament, if anybody doesn't have anything going on next week and they want to see some real good girls basketball, take the trip up 67 and go to Farmington and see some good games. Sure,
and taking a look at the matchups there, Dexter with the top seed, and I think they won that by coin toss. So I guess it works out. Dexter will take on Notre Dame out of St. Louis. That's the 1-8 game. Poplar Bluff, the 4 seed, taking on 5th-seeded Farmington. 3rd-seeded Jackson taking on 6th-seeded Cape Notre Dame. And 2nd-seeded Miller Career Academy taking on 7th-seeded DeSoto. And Dexter's been competitive in this in the past few years. And last year it was Miller Career and Dexter in the championship.
Miller Career and Dexter in the championship last year, and Miller beat Dexter there in the championship game. A few years ago, saw Miller in that tournament, and Dexter beat them. And so, I expect another really competitive game if both teams can make it to that championship game.
Sure, and always a competitive tournament there in Farmington each year, and it's pretty much become the premier girls tournament, and certainly in this part of the state. So certainly some great teams that are lined up for that Farmington tournament this week. And taking a look at some other schools. We talked about Dexter and their nucleus coming back, and man, they had basically a slew of sophomores and a couple of juniors, and now it's a slew of juniors and a couple of sophomores, and even some younger girls coming up that are going to be able to contribute as well.
Yeah, I got a couple gals there that were freshmen last year that are coming back for their sophomore campaign. Katie Riker's one of those, Shayna Bess, and then a real good class of freshmen. Got a lot of really good quick guards, a couple of girls that can play guard forward, and very, very speedy. I can't emphasize enough how quick some of these girls are in that freshman class. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Allen let them see kind of what varsity looks like a little bit if Dexter gets a pretty good lead. And, he may throw some of those out there to give them a little experience because, when you get in March with just an 8-person varsity roster, somebody gets sick, somebody gets hurt, then you're down to 6 players. So get those girls a little experience maybe, and you never know, you might need them down the road.
Yeah, certainly Dexter's strong in all facets of their lineup, their front court with Brittany Harris.
Yeah, Paige
Patterson. They're going to be a strong duo there down low, and the guards out front. We've got Molly Whitehead.
Molly Whitehead, who can play inside or outside on the 3 line. She's very durable to do anything you need her to do. Allison Gerald's going to be back again, and she's a 3-point bomber out there. Hannah No's going to help run the point, and she's really worked on her game over the summer as far as taking it to the hole. And Taylor Owens coming back, very good at the guard, can shoot it really well, and I don't want to leave anybody out.
You always do.
I'm missing somebody.
Yeah, always. It's Cobb's in there as well.
Erica Cobb. Erica Cobb, who also has really, really worked on her game over the summer. I mean, the girls are serious about it. They're all very intent on trying to get to Columbia in March.
And it's going to be fun to watch. And Notre Dame, their nemesis when it comes to the Southeast Missouri rivalry, they're going to be right there in the mix, and they always are.
Well, in the last couple of years, Sykeston's had a pretty competitive team in Class 4 District 1. They've had to play Notre Dame in that. Dexter's been seeded first the last couple of years in the district tournament, but they've had to. Sykeston's had to play Cape Notre Dame, and Cape Notre Dame has knocked them out. And Notre Dame is going to bring back some really, really scrappy guards. Got a senior in Fowler, who is about a 6-foot girl, although she kind of would prefer to play on the outside, and she's a good 3-point threat. I have heard some rumblings that they brought in a gal who hasn't been playing for a couple of years, 6 foot 6'1", to give them a little bit more height. They weren't going to be as big as maybe they had been. The big thing for Notre Dame to me is they lost a really good couple of senior girls from last year that did a bulk of their scoring. So that's going to be, kind of tough for them to replace those two that really did a lot of their scoring.
Sure. And year in, year out, Notre Dame is always competitive, and they got a great tradition going back many years there in Notre Dame to bring back competitive teams. And you mentioned Sykeston's there in the mix, and Kennett's moving way up to Class 4 this year.
Class 4 District 1 is going to have a really different look this year with Kennett moving up and Cape Central moving down. And, Kennett, as you said earlier, has had a good little run here. They got a different coach now. Maybe last year was his first year, and I can't remember her name, but they had a real nice post player last year, and she's graduated. So I think Kennett is kind of in a little bit of a rebuilding time, and they may find they're going a little tough moving up into Class 4 District 1.
Sure,
and that's 2012.
That's pretty much the premier district here in Southeast Missouri when it comes to girls basketball. And Class 5 is pretty competitive too, but that Class 4 is pretty tough this year and going back the past few years. So it's only going to get tougher bringing in more competitive teams.
Well, we were talking, Tyler, about some of those Class 5 teams, and just mention a little bit about them. Poplar Bluff, they graduated Marissa Webb, who was really their playmaker, and they do have a girl, and I believe she's still there. I believe she's a senior this year. Her name's Danielle Farmer. She'll be probably their best player. We'll see her up in the Farmington tournament. And Jackson, they really lost a lot. They had two girls that went to SEMO to play. Drew Hartling is one, and Connor King is one. So you had their best guard and their big post player who graduated, and that's another situation there for Jackson where it's going to be tough to bring some of those younger girls along and fill those spots, all that scoring that graduated last year, especially two that are playing D1 basketball right now.
Right. It's hard to replace that D1 talent.
Absolutely it is.
Sure is. And we've got some state rankings to report on, the preseason, of course, for girls basketball, and it's from the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association in conjunction with Mo Sports, the online sports site for Missouri. So let's take a look at those state rankings for girls basketball. We'll start out in Class 1. It's Walnut Grove, number 1, 2 North Mercer, 3 Camoy, 4 Marion County, 5 Wellington Napoleon, 6 Jefferson, 7 Montrose, 8 Medville, 9 southwest of Livingston, and 10 Chadwick. And moving on to Class 2, we have Seymour at number 1, 2 Harrisburg, 3 Clopton, 4 New Haven, 5 Windsor, 6 North Platte, 7 Fordland, 8 Neelyville, 9 Maysville, and 10 Marionville. And moving to Class 3, we have Prince of Piatt, number 1, 2 Herman, 3 Ash Grove, 4 California, 5 Hallsville, 6 Bowling Green, 7 Mount Vernon, 8 St. James, 9 Licking, and 10 Lawson. In Class 4, we have Incarnate Word at number 1, 2 Republic, 3 Smithville, 4 Miller Career Academy, 5 Westminster, 6 West Plains, 7 Pleasant Hill, 8 Jeff City Helias, 9 Dexter, and 10 Bolivar. In Class 5, we have Rockbridge at number 1, 2 Blue Springs, 3 St. Joseph's Academy, 4 Ozark, 5 Nixa, 6 Francis Howell Central, 7 Parkway South, 8 Lee Summit North, 9 Ursuline, and 10 Marquette. So those are your preseason rankings for the state of Missouri. And taking a look at that Class 4, as you said, I think there's 3 of the teams that are in that Farmington tournament. They're in the top 10. Dexter there, number 9. Miller Career Academy there on down the way at number 4. And well, I guess those are only 2 teams in there.
Two Class 4, yeah.
But some familiar faces in there, Incarnate Word, Republic, Miller Career Academy.
Incarnate Word, they actually moved down from Class 5 this year to Class 4. So, they've been super competitive in the largest class over the years, and don't really know what happened up there. I guess they lost some students or whatever, but that's interestingly, they got placed in the same Class 4 district with Miller Career Academy, Tyler. So one of those two is going to come out of that district, 2 of the best teams in the state of Missouri. So unfortunate for them, but that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes.
Sure is. And looking down the way, it's Neelyville's had a strong program going back many years. They've been consistent, and they're there in the top 10 to start out this year, and I think they play out of Class 2, I believe that was, and they've been strong the past few years.
Well, Neelyville's got a great coach over there, and she gets the girls to come out and play, and they work very, very hard. Neelyville 2 years ago, Dexter went over there to Neelyville and got beat, and they had a real strong team, and they've got a few girls from that team that are coming back. So whoever Coach Becky Hale gets to come back and play, or even the new kids that are coming up, she gets them 100% out of those girls at Neelyville. So does a great job over there.
Certainly do. We'll be looking forward to seeing the Neelyville Lady Tigers fair this year. And another team that's going to be there in the mix here in Southeast Missouri. And in Class 3, that's the Matter County Central Lady Eagles. They had a fine season last year, winning the district championship, and fell, I believe it was to Seymour, the
Yes.
top-ranked team
Yes.
this year in Class
Yes.
3. And they got a pretty much the same nucleus coming back, and headed by Benicia Childress.
Benicia Childress and McGlosson is the other
McGlosson,
player over there, and boy, just extremely athletic. Childress is. We got to see her play 2 or 3 times over the course of the year last year, and then when we played them over there, she can do anything with a basketball, whether it's shoot outside or rebound or take it into the basket. And so I look for New Madrid to be competitive and competitive to win their district and maybe move on. So New Madrid looking pretty good again for this year.
Sure, and that's team's headed up by Jason Crockett.
Yes,
And he's done a fine job.
very good job.
They're over at New Madrid, and it's been a while since we've seen New Madrid competitive in girls basketball, but they've got a group coming in this year that's been successful over the past few years and defeated Doniphan in the district championship last year.
Yeah, another
First time.
perennial kind
Yeah.
of a team in Class 3. So good job, New Madrid, on that.
First
because,
district title since '96.
96.
So it's
Okay.
been a good while for the Lady Eagles over there, and they're looking to build on that this year. So we'll see how they fare this year as well. And again, as you see there, be sure to email us your comments, sports@yhctv.com, or even sports@semosportzone.com, and we'll get you involved in our show. And take a look at some other teams. I know Jackson and Poplar Bluff, they're going to be competitive up there in Class 5. Poplar Bluff, Kirk Chronister heading up those girls, and he's done a fine job over the years.
Well, what can you say about Kirk Chronister, man? He's been there for over 30 years. Just a fantastic basketball program. I remember many years ago when some of us were working with our young daughters, Tyler, and when they were in the 3rd and 4th grade, we would say to each other, we want to get Dexter's girls basketball program to the same level as what Coach Chronister's got Poplar Bluff. So, Poplar Bluff was kind of a team that everybody kind of wanted to pattern after because they played tough defense and they were very disciplined and did things the right way. And Coach Chronister has really done that over at Poplar Bluff, and what a tradition and really a legend in girls basketball in Southeast Missouri.
You think about the level that they've done it at, going back playing Class 4 when there were only 4 classes, and now playing Class 5 when there's 5 classes.
And got to the Final Four several years.
Mm-hmm.
So, just fantastic job over there. And like I say, he graduated a real good player, but he's got a lot of younger girls coming up, a lot of three-point shooters, and the Farmer girl, I believe, is back. Who she's kind of one of those players who's pretty tall. She's around 5'11" or so, but she can play inside or shoot outside. So expect with him he'll have them running on all cylinders before the season's over.
Sure, we'll be looking forward to it. It's going to be a great season. We've got some girls' games lined up for you this year. We'll be following mainly the Dexter girls. They'll be taking on Farmington. Earlier in the year, we're going to be on hand for that. Also, the Notre Dame game. That's going to be a good game to look forward to. And a couple more, too, we've got. And then we're going to go take the trip up to Jackson for the Dexter-Jackson game. And there's another one in there. Kennett, yeah.
Playing Kennett?
The Dexter and Kennett game down there in Kennett. So 4 of those girls' games we're going to be following here on YHC TV. So look forward to those when those come around. And we won't get into those games, I think, until January, for the most part. So
That's right.
be looking forward to those games at the start of the year. So a lot to look forward to in girls' basketball this year. So going to be some teams that we're going to keep our eye on, seeing how they develop through the year. And, of course, got to avoid that injury bug.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, just from Coach Allen here at Dexter's perspective, you got 8 varsity kids and don't want anybody to get hurt. And because all of his kids play, and they all play a lot, and they all have an important part on the team. So you get one hurt or something, or a couple hurt, then it could cause some problems. So
Sure.
crossing our fingers and praying for a healthy season for everybody.
All right, and we'll be looking forward to it. And Scott, we appreciate you coming on today and sharing with us about the area girls teams to look forward to this year, and we'll be seeing you around.
We'll be around and looking forward to a great season.
Of course. And we're going to take a break and be back with more. We've got a lot more to get to, and we'll be getting into the boys up next.
I wanna stay connected to you. I like the way you do what you do. Alright, okay, you're fine. Hey.
Call Audubell Hearing Center at 1-800-499-8786 or visit one of our locations in Dexter and Poplar Bluff, Missouri today.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding. And even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
And welcome back, and now we're along with Risco basketball coach Brandon Blankenship. And Brandon, it's good to have you on a preview today.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it, man.
Sure.
It's always fun.
Always is, and we're wrapping up football this weekend, so we're going to be in full swing into basketball starting this next week. And you're coming off a fine season last year, finest probably in school history, with a 24-4 record. Is that right?
That's correct. That was a school record for most wins. So. We were pretty proud of that. Had great community support last year. Great fan support, and it was exciting, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was, and capped it off with a district championship there at Risco last year. Moved on to the sectional round and just happened to meet up with those Scott County Central Braves again. So it's tough to know that the best team that you've ever produced from the school runs into. Scott County Central making it one of its most historic runs.
Right. Now I guess the consolation prize in that is that they did actually go on and win state again. So at least you feel like you got beat by the best team in the state. And that's a small consolation. But yeah, I mean every year running into those guys, it makes it tough. Now they didn't have Otto last year. Otto's at Georgetown, but they were still tough, man. They still had good players, and we just didn't get it done when we needed to. But.
Right. It's anytime you finish your season with a loss, it's disappointing. No matter if you win or if you finish second in the state, or you get dropped out earlier. But it's always tough. So you're bringing back a strong group this year to look forward to. I know we graduated quite a few seniors last year, but you got some younger kids that are going to be coming back. Should field a competitive team.
Oh, definitely. I don't say this out too much, but we did graduate about 50 points a game off last year's team with Chris Pavey, Luke Bixler, Jeremy Fowler, those seniors, that trio of seniors there. But yeah, we feel good about what we're bringing back. Seniors Austin White and Hunter Knight have been varsity players since they were sophomores, and they were starters, last year, and just key pieces to the puzzle last year. And then Jordan Pavey has played up since he was a freshman, and he'll be a junior this year. So we feel like we've got a lot of experience coming back, even though we did lose quite a bit. We feel like we got plenty of experience and guys who've been there and who know what it takes and know what they have to do. And we're looking for a huge production for sure from those three. Got some sophomores that moved up to juniors this year, in Brandon Bixler, Josh Earnhardt, guys like that who are going to contribute. They were big contributors last year on the JV, and actually got some minutes late in the season last year. Brandon Bixler had a big district championship game for us last year as a sophomore. So we'll have a little more size this year too, and that's something that we haven't had in the past. So I think we'll be a little tougher on the boards. And we've got some other seniors, Caleb McCord, Matt Cummins. Those guys, were juniors last year. They were role players, and their roles will be expanding this year. So we feel good. We feel good about what we've got coming back.
That's why I'm looking forward to seeing how Jordan Pavey comes in this year. And he was a great performer in that sectional game with Scott County Central last year, and he really led the way in that game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he makes the transition as probably being the main scorer for you all this year.
He, we used him as a sixth man coming off the bench last year with the team that we had. And, man, when the season was over, he went to Sykeston and played with the AAU team at Sykeston in the spring. Played with, Vashawn Ruff and those guys up there, played a lot of good competition, and then he had a good summer too with the games that we played. So, yeah, I mean, we're expecting big things out of him for sure.
Sure. And you'll open up with a very competitive tournament here with the Campbell Invitational Tournament starting Monday night, and you'll open up as the 3rd seed, and you'll take on Bloomfield. Is that right?
Bloomfield. We play Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. Tuesday night. It starts Monday, but you'll end up playing Tuesday night, and always a competitive tournament there. Basically the rotating tournament between a couple schools in Campbell this year. You've got Bloomfield in the first round, of course, Holcomb and East Prairie there in the other bracket, and Bernie's there in the mix. And this is always a competitive tournament, always fun to watch, and it's always kind of like the battle of the small schools here in southeast Missouri, and this should be a competitive tournament, and you'll open up with Bloomfield Tuesday night.
Bloomfield's, historically strong every year. Coach Carnes is doing a good job there. I think he said at the seed meeting they wasn't going to be as big as what they had been in the past. He said every year he'd been there as an assistant or head coach that they've had quite a bit of size, and he said not so much this year. They're going to be more of a guard-oriented team. So that kind of made me a little excited, just because, man, it's tough for us facing those big guys, because we usually don't have that much size. So. But yeah, it's a competitive tournament, man. It's a great tournament to start the year with. Kind of get a good gauge on where you're at and what you need to work on.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to that tournament. We're going to cover the finals of that tournament that next Friday night from Campbell, and we're in the works of maybe putting that online, but we're still figuring out what we're going to do, whether it's live or not. But it will be replayed over the weekend, so you can sure to be looking forward to that replay for that weekend. Should be a great atmosphere, and it always is in this opening invitational tournament here in southeast Missouri. And looking ahead to the Tri-County Conference, it's been great basketball the past handful of years in the Tri-County, been very competitive, and looking in from last year, you all and Holcomb right there at the top of the conference. Looks like it's going to probably work out that way this year, but you've also got Gideon there in the mix, who y'all played very competitive with last year. And Clarkton's going to be there in the mix this year, so it's going to be another strong Tri-County Conference year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you probably got to put Holcomb out in front just because they won it last year, and then all the size that they bringing back Jamie Massey and Glover and those big, Massey's 6'7", 6'8", and Glover's 6'4", so just bringing those big guys back, again, just makes it tough on all of us. You can't teach size, right? But yeah, I mean, Clarkton's in the mix with their new head coach there, Delane Beckwith. Delane will have them working hard and getting after you, and they're going to be really athletic. Clarkton's going to be athletic. They're kind of I think the sleeper there, at least right now. But yeah, they're going to be tough. Gideon brings back that solid core with Corey Goen, Blake Buchanan. Good scorers, good shooters. I think they've played 2 games already this year, and I think both of them are averaging about 24, 25 points a game. So they're tough. So yeah, I mean you can't against any of those teams. You can't have an off night. I mean, if you have an off night, you're definitely gonna get beat.
Yeah, that district championship with you all and Gideon last year was a great watch. Gideon came out strong, but your guards pretty much took over in that contest last year. But yeah, as you mentioned, Goen and Buchanan, they're big-time players last year in that game, and they're going to look to do the same this year. So, you're talking about 4 to 5 teams there in the Tri-County, going to be very competitive. But like you said, Holcomb with the size, they're going to come in and outsize anyone on the court in the Tri-County, so they're going to have that edge. But it's certainly a tough task going up against the Holcomb Hornets with that size, but it was kind of a contrast last year between you all and Holcomb, and probably a lot of the teams you went up against. Y'all had a lot of guards and a lot of movement, a lot of pressure, and Holcomb really tries to dictate in their half court and get the good looks. So it was entertaining watching that contrast of styles, the quick and fast versus the more methodical half court, size oriented offense. So it's probably going to work that way a little again this year.
I mean, we'll have more size than what we've had last year, last couple of years, but we're still going to try to get out and run and push and go as fast as we can. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. It's going to be fun. It's always a battle. I mean, every time we hook up with Holcomb, it seems like, I know they got us the last 2 times there, but it seems like it comes down to almost every possession, really, and that's just a testament to Seth and what he's doing over there. They're so tough, and nobody wants to give in there. Nobody wants to. Everybody's. It's just a battle. And we enjoy it. We enjoy it.
Yeah, and let's take a look at some games you've got this year early on. I know we'll be down for the Delta C7 game there at Risco. That'll be live here on YHC, and as well you've got Oran down the road, and they're in Class 2, but it's going to be a great matchup. Oran's going to bring back a competitive team this year.
Oh yeah, Oran went to the quarterfinals last year in Class 2, and we played them early. I had success against them last year, but yeah, their JV was really talented last year, and they didn't. I don't think they had many seniors either. So they're bringing back most of their varsity and adding some key guys from their JV. So yeah, that's going to be a tough game. That's actually our home opener for us. So it's that's a good one to start off with for us. Yeah, we got that Orion game, and then after that the Clarkton Holiday Tournament, which is a little more interesting now. Gosnell always comes down from Arkansas, or comes up from Arkansas and brings a good team. But this year we add Cairo to the mix in the Clarkton Holiday Tournament.
Wow.
That was a team. There was a team short last year. Clarkton had entered their JV the last couple of years because we only had 7 teams, and they've secured Cairo to come in. Cairo, Illinois.
Cairo's been pretty tough,
right?
Consistently.
Always athletic. New head coach Brian Brantner is there.
He's over there.
So yeah, I mean it's going to be a competitive tournament as well.
Sure, and throwing Cairo in the mix, they're always pretty tough. We don't see a lot of them over this way, but they're just across the river over there. And with Brantner over there, it's breaking news here on the Roundtable. I didn't know Brantner made his way over to the Cairo, so the Cairo Pilot should be competitive there in Southern Illinois. So we'll be looking forward to that. Your district's going to pretty much be the same this year. I don't think there's any much change there, is there?
Well, there was actually. They added Koshkonong to our district this year. Koshkonong. I'm not even sure where Koshkonong is. I know it's out west, a long ways.
Wow.
Koshkonong is added, and it helps too. It gives us 2 girls teams on the girls side for Class 1 District 1. The last several years, Naylor has been the only girls team, and so that gives two girls teams out there. And yeah, nobody knows much about them, but actually today at Van Buren, Clarkton is playing Koshkonong at 3:30 today at Van Buren. So we're going to go over and try to get a look at them, and and then also Eminence plays right after that, and Eminence is one of the top teams in Class 1. I think preseason number 4, I believe, somewhere in there. So yeah, Koshkonong's added, but everybody else is the same.
Okay, so yeah, we'll look forward to Koshkonong. That's news. Where's the district at this year?
District is at Gideon this year.
Okay, at Gideon, and been there for many years, so no stranger to the Gideon High School gym. So we'll be looking forward to that district tournament. It's been great for the past few years. Should be again, once again this year. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how the Risco Tigers fare. We're going to have you on the schedule quite a bit, so we'll be looking forward to seeing how that develops over the year, and we'll be looking forward to the Risco Tigers this year.
Okay, thanks, Tyler.
All right, Brandon, appreciate your time today.
Thanks, man.
Good luck in that tournament next week. It's going to be pretty competitive.
Be good.
All right.
We're looking forward to it.
Sure will. And we're going to take a break and be back with our guys, Terry McVeigh, Tommy Jacobs, and we're going to talk about these teams and our next upcoming segment. Don't go away.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, ensuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
At Glenn St. Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glenn St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you, no one appreciates your business like we do. Glenn St. and Kennett, and God bless our troops.
And we're back with our contributors, Terry McVeigh here in the middle, and also on the outside there, Tommy Jacobs. And guys, it's that time again, ready for some high school basketball.
It is time. And I'm ready for it. It's Thanksgiving's over. We're all full, and now it's time for ball.
That's exactly right, Terry. We love this time of year, high school basketball.
Certainly is, and we get started this week. Actually, we've had some games earlier this week. One to look back on was Zenith Hornersville defeating Gideon, which kind of I would say, early surprise there. And David Heed now at Zenith Hornersville. So, what does Zenith Hornersville have in store this year?
They're going to be vastly improved, and I don't know anything about the players. They had a good junior high team last year, but I think Coach Heeb's there. He's a very good basketball coach, as everybody in Southeast Missouri knows. He plays a lot of players. I think he kind of wore Gideon down in that game. And, those of us who do the Bloomfield term, we talk about East Carter bad. Well, Zenith's kind of been East Carter bad for the last few years. But their team, they're going to make some waves this year.
Off to a nice start. I wouldn't expect that result. But, Gideon's bringing back we talked with Coach Blankenship there. Gideon's going to be competitive this year, so to start off with a win like that, pretty impressive.
That's big.
It is.
And I hear that Zenith's got a pretty good junior varsity team, so he will build that program down there.
He will.
He'll be making some noise here in a year or two.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing how that plays out, and it'll only add to the Boot Hill Conference.
Oh yeah. I think the Boot Hill Conference is still going to be. It's going to be better this year from top to bottom than it has been in the last couple of years. I think there's going to be more competitive teams like South Penn. 2 years ago, South Penn was a terrible team. Last year, of course, Coach Bidwell started there, and they were vastly improved, and they're going to be even better this year. So,
and they got
from top to bottom, they're going
they got
good.
some groups that should be coming in this year. Had a really competitive JV team a few years ago. Now they're going to be juniors and seniors, so should be able to see the South Penn Bulldogs more competitive on the court this year. And let's stay in the Boot Hill Conference. Been a great conference to watch over the past years, and you never know what to expect out of that conference. The top tier teams, of course, you've seen Crothersville and Kennett, but Hayti last year come out of nowhere, win the Boot Hill Conference. They're over there in Crothersville, make a run to the state Final Four, and they pretty much took that tournament from there, winning that tournament to that point, and built on it for the rest of the year.
I remember last year when we were doing this show and talking about teams to watch, and Tommy says, "Well, you got to watch Hayti." And Tyler and I were sitting there going, Yeah. Yeah, Tommy. Okay, that's right, Tommy. Yeah. Hey, Ty, you got to watch Hey, Ty. And boy,
They came on, didn't
they were good. They were good, and they're going to be good this year.
They are.
They're losing the big kid in the center, and they're losing a lot of scoring. So you don't really know where their scoring is going to come from. But I thought the guy who really spurred them last year in the second half of the season, he didn't start, but every time he came on the floor was Mario Newbell.
Yeah, really.
Who really spurred their defense and made them such a good team. And he's back, and a lot of the other guys, I think Cumes may be back, and Luster's back. They had a freshman 6'5" kid who didn't play many minutes, but when he played pretty well. So I think Haytie's going to be pretty good. It's just going to be a question of who's going to score for him.
Right.
Well, we always call it unbridled talent.
They've had it. And they put it together last year, and hats off to them.
I love to watch them play, and they're the type of team that can beat you any night. When they show up. You can throw the records out, they can beat anybody any night.
And they showed it last year in the Boot Hill tournament because they beat Carruthersville and Kennett on.
And that's two heavyweights.
And they didn't. It wasn't flukes that they beat them. They were the better team on both nights.
That's right.
It was Jerome Thomas, I thought, that really pushed them to another level. He hung around the boards. Some games he was getting 20-plus rebounds, and he was able to get those putbacks, and and the scoring really started to be more consistent from the perimeter. So great run by Philip Taylor there in the last part of that season last year, making a run at the state, come away with third place, and I thought they really had a chance to make it to that championship game. They just really hit a wall there in the semifinals and really couldn't overcome it, but another fine season there from the Hayti Indians. So
well, any team that's going to play defense has a chance to win any game, and they play defense. So
sure do. Looking at other teams in the conference, Crowsville and Kennett always there here in the past few years, and Kennett's going to be more competitive this year. They're young last year, playing sophomores at depending on their sophomores to do quite a bit with Octavius Drake, Cavante Mitchell. They're going to be a year older, more mature, and they're going to bring back, I think, a more competitive team this year.
I think they're going to be good this year. Antonio Primer hadn't gotten to play yet. He was the guy last year that in the middle that Kennett pretty well had to have on the floor and playing well. He's coming off a knee injury. I think he got in football, but hopefully will start playing pretty soon and get himself in shape. They've got some good freshmen. I've got a couple of good freshmen. Akeem Nelson, I think, played a lot of minutes yesterday against West Memphis. And Kennett ran into a West Memphis team yesterday that was just superior at this time, at this point of the season. May not be later, but but Kennett didn't take care of the ball very well. But Kennett's going to be good. I think they're going to be a very good team. I noticed that Colin Smith, who hadn't played the last couple of years, started for Kennett yesterday, and he could be one of those guys like Adam Grantham has been the last couple of years, or Jimmy Gooden before him, one of those guys that can get you 7 points, 6, 7 rebounds, and play defense. And he could be one of those guys that really, and every team needs those guys. So I think it's going to be pretty good.
Sure. And they had a game last night and fell, I think it was West Memphis.
Yes.
Yeah, West Memphis, and they, like they said, they had Primer out. I think Primer's out with an injury right now from football, and they're going to really depend on him for size underneath. And I think some younger kids going to be coming up and playing this year. And these early games are hard to really put together, from the Riverbend, because you're playing some big talent, and you're going to be playing some new faces, and you're going to be without some kids. So I expect Kennett to really develop here in the next month or so, leading into the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. That's when they really come on.
And you're playing teams from Arkansas. They've already played a few games.
Yeah, they're playing a lot of games, actually.
Yeah, they're already playing, and that you get that first game. You need to get that first game. I think Kennett plays Pine Bluff, I believe, this afternoon. I think we'll see a better game out of Kennett. And
I expect big things out of Kennett this year when it comes to Cavante Mitchell. He's proven himself to be a big-time player. He's going to be only a junior this year, but he's going to play at a big-time level. And Octavius Drake, I think he's probably the player for the Kennett Indians that could really put them over the top and be, very competitive, and maybe looking at a state tournament run. Or they're going to be right there in the hunt, and he's going to be playing the point for him, and he's showing some great ability. But if they can move him to where he's consistent night in and night out, they're going to be a scary team.
Well, he operates at a level a little just one notch faster than everybody else, and you need that, and that's what he gives you.
Mm-hmm. So Drake could certainly be a great asset for the Kennedy Indians this year. And looking at Crothersville, had a competitive team last year. They just happened to play that Class 3 District 1, and you get beat up. Everyone beats everyone up, and Charleston comes out of there. But Crothersville is going to bring back a solid team with Daryl Monroe. He's going to be tough.
Well,
there in the lane.
If you remember in the semis last year in the district, Crothersville played Charleston very, very close, basically until I think Daryl Monroe got tired, because he played every minute, or it seemed like he played every minute. And Crothersville, I think L.B. Fonda's the only starter they lose. But they have Daryl Monroe. I mean, that's such a phenomenal athlete.
Pretty good build around that.
Oh, he's such a phenomenal athlete. And,
fine young man.
Yes, he is, very much. And he's a junior. We've been talking about him for 3 years, so much, and
I think
he's a junior.
A little longer.
He must. I don't know.
About 5
Well,
I don't it seems like it.
It just seems like it, because he's been playing at an extremely high level since he started as a freshman, and he's just getting better, and he is such a tremendous athlete. And if you have him to go to, you got a team.
Yeah, and new coach there in Crothersville, Tim Smith, coached at Puckskill the past few years, and he's making his way down there. So, I expect a competitive team from Crothersville this year. And that Boot Hill Conference, you look at the top tiers, you're looking at Kennett, Crothersville, Hayti, but you've also got to think of Portageville. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
easy on me there, but Portageville is going to be one of these teams. They're going to be bringing back a solid team. You don't know who to key on night in and night out. They're going to be right there in the top tier as well. And we'll be talking with Coach Irby here momentarily about their team coming back, and they're going to be a strong team this year.
You wonder where their size is going to come from. I'm not real sure, but last year they got in the situation where they need to get some players that needed to step up underneath, and got that, and they needed Deion Foster and Dominique Walker to start scoring more, because they lost a lot of scoring, and those guys did that. You didn't think Deion Foster could score for the first part of the season. Then it came to where he had to score, and he could score. So, and you got building blocks for Dominique Walker and Deion Foster. You're going to be pretty good.
Sure. And Daniel Allen's going to be one of the guys down low, and I think they got another Simmons kid. I can't. His first name escapes me. There's been so many go through there the past few years, but they're going to be strong. And that's one thing that they don't. Portageville never has a lot of size, but the size that they do have, very effective. I mean, we can go back and they've got 6'3" kids over the past few years, and they play big.
They play big because you talk about Allen and Simmons. They're really good athletes. I mean, they're the 6'1", 6'2" guys that are kind of wide and good athletes, and they play bigger than they are.
They certainly will. And
they're all excited. Portageville came off a great football season. People's up there, and they always support their sports program down there in their school. And I think it's just one of those teams you got to watch.
Always.
And they're going to be Foster and Walker out front. We're going to have an experienced backcourt. So I think those guys are really going to flourish this year. I think they're going to really be able to play loose, go out there and compete well there in the Boot Hill Conference. So as you mentioned, there's four top-tier teams there. Very competitive, and we talked about South Pemiscot. You don't know exactly what they're going to have, but you've got to certainly be looking for them to be more competitive this year, as they've moved up that younger bunch. And you throw in Malden's going to be better this year. Had a young group, not a whole lot of size there, but man, they play fast and they play scrappy.
They do. They're going to be in the middle of the pack there, and I think by conference tournament time, they're going to could be a spoiler of somebody. They got some good athletes. Year after year, Mullen can put as good athletes on the floor as any team around. We're small in size, small in numbers this year. Got a lot of heart in Romello McCoy and Cortez Dobbins, and we got the Kregler boys going to be playing a lot. Going to bring Edwin Hale. I think we get a lot of playing time. Edwin's probably our tallest kid. He's about 6'1" or so. And, Well, we're going to be short on numbers. Got a big junior varsity team. You know, not big. I mean numbers wise, pretty competitive, and we'll see. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, and they were spurty last year, as everyone knows. Come up to Bloomfield Christmas tournament, gets beat by Holcomb first game, and it walks through the consolation bracket very well, win that thing.
Got beat pretty bad first game.
Yeah,
and
they didn't put their dauber down. They got back, and I was really and I'll support them till the very end. But I thought, well, maybe 2 and out will be, you know, but boy, they fought. They came back next morning and fought, and I thought Cortez Dobbins was a freshman last year. I thought had as good a tournament as anybody up there, but you know, when you play early in the morning, a lot of coaches don't see you.
I thought he should have been on the whole tournament
team. I sure did.
I really did. He had that good of a tournament.
Yeah, and you know, he got as they say, got his dauber down a little bit after that. But man, he's got a lot of years ahead of him. And if we can just hold it together, and you know, Coach Sokoloff does a good job, and we'll just have to see. But boy, that Boot Hill Conference is tough to play in.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that conference tournament's going to be in Malden this year.
It's going to be in Malden, and the district's going to be in Malden this year.
So that's going
to
be.
Don't get any better when you bring that district in. You bring Charleston in there, and then Donovan. So it's we're glad to host those Boot Hill Conference tournament. If people want to see basketball, boy, you come to Malden, you'll see some basketball in those tournament times.
Sure. And you know, seeing Hornsville we mentioned, you know, it's going to be probably the back end, but you know, being more competitive this year.
Yeah, this year, that's right.
Yeah, you're probably going to look top to bottom. You're going to look at you know, more competitive top to bottom Boot Hill Conference this year, so it'll be fun to watch. And making our way up a little bit. Actually, let's take a break real quick, and we're going to try to get Jim Vaughn on the line and talk about last night's game and his season up ahead this year as well. So we'll be back.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
And now we've got Kennett basketball coach Jim Vaughn on the line. And Jim, it's good to have you with us.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. And Jim, we got one game under the belt for you last night in the Riverbend Classic. You dropped one to West Memphis. So just tell us how that game transpired last night.
Well, we turn it over often, early and often, and I take a lot of credit for that. I didn't have us as prepared as we needed to be last night versus the press we handled or were facing. And so once we settled in, we had 13 of our turnovers in the first quarter alone. But once we settled in a little bit, that got better throughout the game. You know, we were down 14 after a quarter and had it to single digits through most of the second and third quarter. So, we had spurts and we had glimpses of who we can be and where we can get to. But I was pleased with our kids' effort last night. We had a lot of guys that was their first varsity game ever, some of them their first high school game ever. So we got our feet wet a little bit and got some of the proverbial first game jitters out of the way. So I expect a different team to come out today.
Yeah, and that's always a tough venue to open up in, that Riverbend Classic. You're going to be playing a lot of great talent, and West Memphis, very competitive team there in Arkansas. So you always open up with a tough couple games there at the Riverbend there in New Madrid.
Yeah, and it's really good for us. It just kind of lets you know exactly where you're at the beginning of the year, but where you're at the beginning of the year doesn't really matter. It's where you want to be at the end of the year, and this makes you grow up right now. And so, I think it makes your kids a little bit hungry to get more consistent with what we're going to do throughout the year right away, after game one.
Sure. And Jim, we've been talking about your team that you're going to be bringing back this year, and just looking at the team coming in, first comes off the mind is Kevontae Mitchell, going to come in as a junior, and even Antavius Drake as a junior. And you're going to probably depend on those guys to really push this team to make a run this year. So just talk about those two.
Yeah, we definitely we bring, they both started at the 1 and the 2 last year as sophomores, and so what great experience they gained last year, and we're two of our team leaders statistically and minutes and different categories, and so Kevontae's definitely had a great offseason and a great summer with the Arkansas Wings AAU, and he's going to be a tough matchup for anybody night in and night out. Antavius just has so much speed about him. He can defend the basketball well. He can get the ball off the floor. He can, when the basketball's in his hands, he's kind of hard to stay in front of because he's just a straight burst. So, we're going to rely on those guys a lot. But what's nice is we've got young guys underneath them too that can move them to different positions every now and again. And, maybe they can play off of these younger guys a little bit, these younger guards that we have. So we've got a nice mixture this year. We've got a good situation. We're not completely healthy yet. We're still missing a couple guys, not released out of from injuries out of football season. One of those being the Primer kid. He was definitely our best post last year, second leading scorer. So it hurts not having him out there right now. And then we've got another one that's going to help handle the basketball for us a little bit. Rantrell Carruthers, freshman. So we've got more pieces to add. But having those two back it makes us experienced right away out at the guard position.
Coach, this is Terry McVeigh. When do you expect Primer and Carruthers to be healthy or available for basketball at least?
What Antonio's situation, he dislocated his kneecap about mid-season, and so that ligament was just basically really loose. So they've had to rehab it and tighten it back up. The rehab has really come along. He looks good. He feels good right now. He's getting to do some things where he can move around. We're waiting on a brace, which they fitted him for that this past week. It's a brace that is designed especially to hold that kneecap in place. So we expect that to be here next Thursday, and then they'll take another look at him, and possibly with that brace he might be released. So we might have him next weekend. If not next weekend at the Hall of Fame shootout at Rector, then I would expect him back the week after that. Carruthers just keep coming along. I mean, when this first happened, he dislocated his hip, and he had to have it surgically repaired. Was a pretty substantial injury. He kind of had to learn how to walk first, but he's been so determined with his rehabilitation that the last report he got from his rehab therapist is that he could be ready by the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. So that's good news. That's a lot further ahead. At one point we thought that he might miss this basketball season.
Now that is something I was afraid of, that he was going to miss the entire season.
Yeah, but I watched his last rehab session, and his work is determined, and he's gotten through it, and Tony, his therapist, is really putting him through it, and really you can just tell that Tony's caring about how this kid gains his strength back and is rehabilitated the right way, and so it's those two are working together, and we hope to have him back by Bloomfield. I hope for him. He's miserable right now. It kills a kid when they can't be on the floor.
Yeah,
and
no
Tony was
kid.
the same way, but.
Yeah, Jim, just wrapping up things here. I know you've been playing out of the competitive Class 3 District 1, probably the toughest district in the state. And the state of the Misha gave you a great gift this year, getting to play out of that Class 4 District 1. So maybe just chime in on how that's going to work out for you.
Well, it's you know what, we're going to absorb the challenge. We went from one tough district to another tough district, and hopefully we're one of those teams that go into that district and make it that much more tough, for other teams. So, but I think we can be right there in the mix. We've got good length, we've got good speed, we've got good experience coming back. I think by year's end we're going to be somebody who you don't want to see in the district tournament, and everything goes the right way and everybody's healthy at the end, we could be the team to beat in it. But that district, Cape has won the Class 5 district the last 2 years. Sykeston's been who they have been for so long right now, and Notre Dame's very established with what they do and their system. And then you can't ever count out Perryville and Dexter just because they're well coached and they're tough kids and they do things the right way. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the whole year, but getting to that postseason district tournament is going to be a lot of fun for us.
Sure, that makes the district a lot more competitive. It's been just pretty much the battle of two teams there in that district for the past handful of years, so it's certainly going to be more fun to watch you all in Cape Central get into that Class 4 this year. So, Jim, we appreciate your time with us today. I know you're going to be gearing up for another Riverbend game today, and good luck today, and we'll be seeing you down the road.
Okay, I appreciate it, Tyler.
All right, take care. And as we mentioned there, Class 4 District 1, you get thrown into the fire again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you say, okay, I'm getting away from Charleston.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sykeston.
But I really believe with the athletes and as well coached as Kennedy is, they'll be competitive. They'll be competitive at any level, but they're going to just rise to the occasion.
Yeah, you want to play. You want that challenge.
Exactly. And like you say, throw them up in Class 4, but they've been battling with New Madrid and Charleston for years anyway. And so I think he'll be ready. Coach Vine will have those kids ready, and he's got a program down there.
Yeah. It's not like jumping up to Class 4 is a quantum leap in competition because Class 3 down here is so competitive. But I think it's a good challenge for Kidden. I think it's good for the program. It's good for the players.
Yeah,
good for our district.
Yeah, you guys too.
But let me say something. We talk about Kidden right now. I don't want to miss saying this kid's name because a while ago I mentioned some kids, and I hate to start doing that because you always forget one. But Malik Perkins, our point guard last year. Malik really came on and played, and I look for big things out of Malik this year. And I want to apologize. I hate to start mentioning kids.
Yeah.
And he sure don't want to make mother and grandmother.
No.
But I think Malik will run the team this year.
Good.
All right. Hey, let's take another break. We're going to stick to some more coaches here, so we'll be back in just a moment.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
And now we're along with Portageville basketball coach Jason Irby. And Jason, we appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Oh, no problem. Good to be here.
Sure. And we've been talking about the Boot Hill Conference, Jason, and we know we expect Portageville to be very competitive in that conference once again this year. And you're going to have a strong group coming back. And you're going to be pretty much strong across the board when it comes to the front and back court. So just talk about your team coming back this year.
Yeah, we have 9 seniors out this year. A couple kids that didn't play, but most of the seniors we've got back played quite a bit last year. So we feel like we do have some good experience coming back. Of course, we have Deion Foster in the backcourt, back at point guard this year, and he's really improved tremendously. And he had a good football season, and his leadership skills have really grown over the summer. So we're looking for good things out of him. And we've got Dominique Walker back. He's probably going to play a little bit inside and outside for us this year, but he played predominantly outside last year, and just, of course, is a really good athlete, can do a lot of things in the open floor. We look for big things out of him, and then we've got some kids. coming back that didn't play maybe quite as much, however, but they did play minutes. Kids like Denzel Simmons and Ian Brown is going to get to play a little bit more this year. Some kids that probably didn't quite see the minutes they would have hoped to last year, but they've really grown into those roles this summer, and we look for big things out of them.
Sure. And pretty much, are you guys coming back healthy? I know the football season extended this year with the fine season that they had. Are you going to be at least healthy to start off the season?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple guys, Dominique Walker, and then Robert Anderson. We're kind of nursing some ankle sprains and some minor things. But by the time we get to our first game, we should be full go as far as health-wise. So unless something else happens between now and then. But yeah, we pretty well weathered the storm. Our guys pretty well came out of football for the most part injury-free, just kind of sore and banged up. But it was great to see our kids have success out there this year. And it's really carried over to out here on the basketball court. You can see the confidence and the expectation of doing well now. They kind of got that winning feeling, so hopefully it'll carry over out here to games and so forth.
Sure. And let's talk about your first handful of games that you got on your schedule. Who you got coming up, Jason?
We start off with Cooter here at home. I really don't, to be honest, I don't know a lot about them. I know they're in our district, so it's good to get them on the schedule to play another district team. But for us, it'll be, just mainly that first game, trying to get some things ironed out, get on the floor, run up and down. We'll probably be one of the last teams in the area to play. Everybody else is will have a couple games under their belt. So at that point, we'll just need to play. And then we turn around on Friday, that Friday night, play Hayti, which is always a tough game. Of course, they're on our district last year and then beat us. And so we'll have a tough game there. We have to travel to Hayti, and then we play on that Saturday also against Twin Rivers at Three Rivers. And they're always a tough matchup for us and always ready to go. So those first three games right off the bat, that first week will be a different test for us, each and every one. But it'll be good for our team to kind of find out where we're at.
Sure. And you play in a very competitive Class 2, Jason. And, as you mentioned, Hayti was successful last year, but you also had Bernie and Hayti right there in the mix. So there's about 4 or 5 teams of you all down there that can make a run at this year. So it's going to be a very competitive district once again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's good for basketball in general when you have so many teams that feel like they have a good chance of winning it, and I'm sure that the top 5, 6 teams all feel like they have a chance. Of course, like you said, Hayti is coming back as the defending champion, and we'll have a lot of good athletes again, and a lot of kids are part of that team. And then Bernie's always going to be right there, and Holcomb's got a lot of good kids coming back, and then I think South Pen's probably one of the teams that may be flying under the radar, but they've got a lot of kids back and got a couple kids moved in, I think, and I think they're really going to be a team to watch in our district. So it's definitely going to be up and up for grabs, and it'll be just whoever's playing well that particular week probably is going to come out of there. And I think whoever comes out of there has a great chance to go a long ways. But obviously we're hoping we're the one, but it's going to be very competitive.
Sure.
Coach, this is Tommy Jacobs. It's always fun to watch the Portisville Bulldogs play, and I was looking at your schedule. You do have some pretty hard hitters coming up in Hayti early in the season, and I can't remember. So you got Holcomb. You're not gonna get too easy early.
No, we've got a tough early season schedule, but like I said, it's kind of good to find out what you need to work on, where you stand, especially going into the Bloomfield tournament, which is always tough as well. We've got Kendall early on also at our place, so we've got a couple tough early conference games, district games, and like I said, we'll find out where we're at. We actually picked up a game. We're going to travel to Manila, Arkansas right before the Bloomfield tournament as well, and go down there and play. And they're supposed to have a pretty solid team this year from what I hear. So those games will hopefully give us an indication of where we're at, and as we get ready to go into the Bloomfield tournament, and then of course into more of our conference games after the tournament. So we'll definitely use those games to kind of judge where we're at for sure.
Yeah, good luck to you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Jason, we appreciate your time spending with us today, and we'll certainly be looking forward to the Bulldogs this year. And good luck with the first handful you got.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Tyler. Thanks for having me on.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
And that's Jason Irby, and it's pretty much going to be the same story for all those guys down there. Very competitive Class 2 down there, and there's 4 or 5 teams there with Bernie, Portageville, Hayti, and
had in Bloomfield this year. Bloomfield is an addition, isn't it?
Is Bloomfield addition?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they went down to 2. So yeah,
They're
that makes
down
it
to 2, and
more competitive as well.
where the district's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, and Holcomb in there, and it's a tough
Yeah, Holcomb
district down
loses
there.
what? They lose their one of the Reeves at guard, but I think they've got most.
They lose that. They lost Aaron, and
they lost
kept
Skelton.
Ryan.
They lost Skelton.
Yeah.
But
They're going to be tough,
but
I think.
yeah, they're still going to be good.
Yeah.
They've got a lot coming back.
Sure do.
And
you know, a lot of people showed a lot of respect for South Pembroke, and rightfully so. You know, everybody that knows anything about basketball, that coach and that school district are putting a team together down there. And they could certainly be a spoiler.
And I've seen South Pembroke down the way in like 8th grade. Tough.
Oh yeah.
Tough now. I tell you, South Pembroke's going to have some teams coming up the way here in the next few years.
Terry and I don't want to date ourselves, but we can remember years ago when South Penn nobody wanted to play them.
Nobody ever wanted to play South Penn.
Had such an exciting team and a pep club.
And I believe they're playing in the Campbell tournament coming up.
They're playing that Bulldog Classic.
Yeah. We've got the Bulldog Classic.
Yeah, the
Let's
Bulldog
go ahead and,
Classic. They got.
take a look at
that's
that.
right. They have that coming up, and they'll probably get Crothersville second round.
Probably right.
Or get Crothersville early. So that might be.
Here we have South Pembroke's going to take
Yeah.
on Clarkton in that first round of that Bulldog Classic. So that'll be getting underway this next week as well.
Then if the seeds go, that's right. It's their own tournament. But if the seeds play out right, then they'll get Crothersville in the second round. But
good tournament.
Don't completely count out Clarkton. I saw them play once this summer.
And a Delane Beckwith coach team. That's always that factor as well.
He's got a track record.
A lot of people. I've talked to people down at Clarkton. They're pretty excited this year. I think they've really got a good JV team coming through there. And then anytime, a lot of times you bring in a new coach, and that just puts more fire in them, and they're expecting big things, and they could get you.
Yeah. So they can't look past them. If they do get past them, then they play Crothersville. That might be a good one to watch.
It might be.
Yeah. Well, let's take another break, and we'll be back with more coaches coming up.
I want to stay connected to you. I like the way you do what you do. All right, okay, you're fine.
Call Audubell Hearing Center at 1-800-499-8786 or visit one of our locations in Dexter and Poplar Bluff, Missouri today.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, ensuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding, and even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
And we're going to stay in the Boot Hill Conference now. We're along with Hayti basketball coach Philip Taylor. And Philip, I appreciate you spending time with us today.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on.
Sure. And a great run last year, Philip, all the way to the state Final Four, finished off with 3rd place. And I know it's a great season down there in Hayti, and you're going to be bringing back a competitive team, probably a few different faces, but should be competitive once again this year.
Yes, sir. We were trying to build on what happened last year, I guess you'd say. We do have some returners from last year's team, led by Demetrius Lester. I've been watching the show today, so I heard Mr. McVeigh say something about Newbill. Newbill will play quite a bit this year. Kennard Hughes will run the point for us. We got enough coming back to where we can be really competitive. We can give everybody a run, and I'm really looking forward to getting going next week.
Sure, and you got some younger kids coming up. I know Frankie, his last name escapes me.
Burton.
Yeah.
Sir. He was he was there with us last year. He played varsity most of the year last year. As more of a learning process, he set the school record with block shots last year. So he kind of stepped in and really helped us out, and he'll be a starter for us this year. And we're looking for big things from him.
And Jerome Thomas, probably one of the top big guys in the area last year. Really was a great asset to you all. Losing him is going to be tough, but you think Frankie can fill those shoes in that similar kind of role this year?
I do think Frankie can step in. In fact, he's not quite as athletic as Jerome, being able to play out on the wing when necessary. But Frankie does a really good job around the glass. I mean, he knows how to do his post moves. He plays good post defense. And between he and Demetrius, we can clean up a lot of glass.
Yeah, Coach, seeing him play last year, he said he didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but the minutes he played, he's pretty impressive. Just what he could change around the basket. He could alter shots, and like you said, block shots. I think he's got a pretty good future.
He really is. Bart works with him quite a bit, Coach Chance, on his post stuff, and he's really stepped into his role, accepted his role last year, and this year, with him doing that, I think it gives us an opportunity to play more pressure defense on the perimeter, just because of what you said with his ability to alter shots.
You got a backstop there. They get by them. Then they come to him. So you got a backstop.
Exactly. It's something we haven't had in quite a while.
And Philip, you all played great defense last year. I think that's what really propelled you all and y'all's state run. A great man-to-man, tough defense. Are you going to be able to play a similar style this year and maintain the discipline of a good man-to-man defense?
For the most part, we do mix it up quite a bit, but for the most part, our mainstay is man-to-man. Like I said, we have Humes at the point, Lou Bill at the 2 guard. I have 3 kids moving up from the JV, which 2 of those guys were on the 4x1 state track team last year. So there's a lot of speed there. So our man-to-man defense is going to be pretty good, I think.
And, of course, we're going to be looking forward to y'all in the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. We want y'all to show up, have your team ready to make a good run in that Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. It seems like we get down on you all when y'all show up to the Bloomfield Tournament because y'all kind of here and there, and then once y'all get out of the Bloomfield Tournament, you actually put a season together, especially coming off that Boot Hill Conference Tournament last year. So we want to see y'all get started good and make a good run in that Bloomfield Tournament.
Well, that's kind of that's the way we do things, I guess. We kind of start slow and have to find our identity and what we do well and what we need to work on. And you're exactly right. Usually Bloomfield is about the time where everything starts clicking for us. And I heard Coach Vaughn earlier say, it's not where you start the season, it's where you end. And so that's pretty much what I preach all the time. Preseason tournaments don't mean a lot. Bloomfield is nice, but guys, it's the end of the year. So let's just get better consistently, week after week, game after game, and make our run when it's necessary.
Sure. And we've been talking about the Boot Hill Conference this year, and it's going to be as competitive as it's ever been. And you all made a great run last year, made a run through that conference tournament, and you built on that to make that state run. So what do you expect out of the Boot Hill Conference again this year?
Loaded from top to bottom. This is going to be the most fun that this conference has had in a long, long time. Crothersville is bringing back Monroe and some other players. They're going to be very good. Kennett, everybody knows what they've done the past couple of years. Coach Vaughn and his group. I've heard you guys talk about South Penn. South Penn is one of those teams that everybody is kind of looking over their shoulder. Well, what are they going to do? Coach Bridewell is going to have them ready to go. All the way down to Coach Heave down at Stanton. They're going to be much improved. Any night, any team can be knocked off. I made a comment a couple of weeks ago that any seed meeting that we go to, there's going to be a lot of arguing this year because there's so much. Everybody's going to be about the same. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be good.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to see how y'all come off that state run from last year. I know it's going to be an exciting time for you all down there, and we'll be looking forward to it. And Phil, we appreciate the time you're spending with us today.
Well, thank you, Joe, for having us on, and I look to see y'all down the road.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Coach.
And it's got to be exciting to come off that year that they came off last year. And going to be some new faces in there, but this Frankie kid, as he mentioned, is going to be a big asset for them. And he's a talent. You could always tell the past few years that he's going to be something, and we're going to be able to see it on the floor this year.
I was really impressed by it. He didn't play a lot of minutes last year, but when he played, he gave them a lot, and he gave them good minutes, and especially defensively and on the boards. I was pretty impressed with him last year.
Sure. So, and I told him that we need to expect a team at the Bloomfield tournament that's
Right.
ready to go and ready to compete, because you always get down on Hayti in that Bloomfield tournament
I
because they
know.
play inconsistent. It's like,
Right.
well, there goes Hayti again. But man, last year they made a great run, so hopefully they're going to come back this year ready for that Bloomfield tournament. If they do, that's going to be one fun Bloomfield tournament to watch this year.
It sure is.
Yeah. And we're going to move away from the Boot Hill Conference. We're going to get into these other teams, and we're going to try to get Hawkman coach Seth McBroom on the phone up next, so don't go away.
At Glen St. and Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glen St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year, and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you, no one appreciates your business like we do. Glen St. and Kennett, and God bless our troops.
My country takes of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
And now we've got Hawkman coach Seth McBroom on the line. And Seth, we appreciate you spending some time with us today. And you've been very competitive, especially in the Tri-County Conference. But in that district, you got a tough district, as we've been talking about. We're looking for big things once again from Hawkman again this year.
Well, I hope you're right. Thanks for having me on as well. But yes, I hope you're right. Very competitive district. We've had a couple of good seasons here in a row. So. Kids have been competing hard in practice, so hopefully it spills over into the games. I think they're ready to play a game, tired of playing each other probably, so, yeah.
And we had Blankenship on earlier, and he knows he's going into this year, Hawkman's going to be probably preseason number one, I guess you would say, in the Tri-County Conference. So, you've got that, I don't know if you'd say pressure, but expectation to do well, especially in the conference this year. But it's going to be a competitive conference once again there in Tri-County, as it's been here the past handful of years.
Yeah, it's the preseason stuff. I mean, that means diddly, you know what I mean? So, don't let him lie to you. He'll have his kids ready to play. That's for sure. He might, tell us that, hey, we're good and all this other stuff, but when they're in that little hot box down there and practicing their butts off, they're thinking about defense. There's no doubt. So.
Yeah, it's been some great games. It's probably some of the best games we've had over the past few years, been Hawkman and Risco, so we're not really expecting anything different once again this year.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be ready for us, and just like every conference team, I mean, you step in for one of the conference games, you better, what's going to happen. It's going to be a battle. There's no easy ones, so.
Sure, man. This is going to be a good tournament for y'all to open up with in this Campbell Invitational Tournament. You know, you've got Risco in there, as we've mentioned. Bernie's going to be in there, and you know, Bloomfield's going to be a nice addition. Even Pucksville and Twin Rivers. This is always a good tournament. You all missed out on the title game last year. It was kind of no. You actually made the title game over Bernie. Excuse me on that one. So you might see a similar kind of outcome. So it's always a good tournament to open up with, and the better teams here in Southeast Missouri, the smaller schools, getting together in this tournament.
Yes, I think it's a very good tournament. I mean, it's you know, we play a lot of each other during the season, which kind of stinks, but it's a good tournament to start out with. Good kind of measuring stick. And, you know, it's if you do win or lose, you know, it always is a good measuring tool, like you said. But it's also, you also know that, hey, we're going to get to see that team later on down the road as well, probably more than likely. So it can be a little bit of a motivating factor as well.
Coach, this is Tommy Jacobs. We really appreciate how hard your kids work when we watch your teams play. And I understand you're going to have an assistant. Jake Skelton's going to be your assistant this year. Is that right?
Yes, sir. It's good when your assistant knows more about basketball than you do.
I've known Jake a long time, but I tell you what, you don't let him have a heart attack on that sideline, because, boy, as you know, he gets into it pretty good. And I think he's just going to be an asset to an already very well-coached team. So I look for good things out of the Hornets, and we wish you a lot of luck. We'll see you at Camel next week.
Oh, yeah. Y'all going to come over and do some of those games?
We'll be doing the finals night. We'll be doing the finals of that game, so you're going to make it if you're going to be on TV. So you got some work to do.
And you know, I love to be on TV. You know, I barely missed that career. You know, that was really off my
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. When we do a Holcomb game, for some reason he comes well dressed for that game. He's one of the best dressed coaches out there, I must say.
Yeah, he's got it.
You never know when somebody might be looking. You know, my wife dresses me, but I mean, you never know though. My wife dresses me though; she keeps me looking good.
Coach, this is Terry McVeigh. You lost some pretty good seniors from last year's team. What do you have to kind of fill their roles with Reeves and Skelton? Of course, you got the younger Reeves, but with Skelton and your forwards.
Yeah, you know, we lost Reeves, Skelton, and David McDaniel, and all of them played a vital role. I mean, they were all very good. I don't know if we're going to, per se, just, you know, fill in that position. It's hard to fill in what those guys did. It'll be kind of by, you know, maybe committee and a little bit more balance. I mean, you know, I kept telling people Aaron Reeves was the best point guard around, or one of the best point guards around the area last year. And, you know, it was just as far as our team and the way we ran things, I mean, it was just a fact. And then, you know, Patrick Skelton was a great intensity player and did a lot of things for us on the defensive end as well as the offensive. And then David McDaniel was a great role player that, you know, didn't turn the ball over. You know, people don't realize how important he was as well. But I think we're going to have to supplement that stuff kind of together as a team and just kind of everybody fill in and do their job. I don't know if we can, per se, just fill those spots with what they did, but just maybe by balance and, you know, each person coming in and knowing their quote-unquote role or their limitations and what they can and can't do and just kind of attack it that way. I think, you know, we'll be a little bit, maybe as a whole, a little bit better shooting team this year, and then maybe as a whole, a little more balanced as far as the scoring goes. But, you know, it's hard to replace three guys like that. There's no doubt.
Coach, it's Tommy again. I was going to come down and see you last Tuesday, and I called my niece Carrie and asked if you think you'd be free, but I think you had something else a lot more important than talking to Tommy Jacobs, didn't you, about that time?
Well, we thought we were going to have a baby, and I was really excited. I was kind of hoping it would happen, but she's still got that thing in there cooking right now.
Well, we didn't know. We wanted to find out.
It could be any day now, and she's got me. I'm leaving practice right now. She's got me hurrying up to get home just in case. And yeah, it could be any day now. We don't know when it's going to be. She's had a real tough pregnancy, and she's actually feeling better right now.
They're great.
that she has the whole time. So it's kind of interesting how it's worked out. But I'm just waiting to drive Papa Bluff and have the baby. I just kind of hoping it could have happened before the tournament, but
Well, we were talking about, next Friday night, if you were in the finals, we'd talk to you. But there could be a possibility that old Jake's going to have to take this on his own.
yeah, probably better off anyway.
Well, we wish you a lot of luck with your wife, and I hope everything goes well.
Yeah, I can't wait. Another little girl. There ain't nothing better than little girls. So.
All right, Seth, we appreciate your time with us today, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you this year.
All right, man. I'll see you guys. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
All right.
And, he's got a lot on his plate right now. And, it's in that tournament playing 3 nights next week. You never know how that's going to happen. So wish the best of luck to him and his wife, and for the Holcomb Hornets. Should be this is a big year for Holcomb. They got expectation, and the players got expectations on themselves. They know that this year that they need to get it done, and they're going to have that on their plate this year. So
and as good as Massey was last year, he'll be better this year. And that's when you start with a guy that's 6'6", that can move and has basketball skills. Okay, you're starting a pretty good foundation, and they've got other players to go with him. So it's going to be a good year for Holcomb.
Sure. And we're going to be back, and we're going to try to get another coach on the line, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
And we're back along with Brad Botch, the Bernie basketball coach. And Brad, I know a lot of people's going to be looking forward to your team this year. So what have you got? What have you got for us this morning?
I think our kids have worked hard so far. In the preseason, I've liked what we've seen, and I really have no complaints about where we are. And I think we're going to be pretty competitive, night in, night out. There's a lot of balance out there in the area, and we're going to have to be ready every single time we step on the floor.
And I know everyone's going to be thinking about this JV team that you had last year. I think only one loss on the season, only to Sykeston. Really dominated the JV scene here in Southeast Missouri, and everybody's going to be wondering if that's going to be translating into the varsity this year. So what can you tell us about some younger kids moving up?
Yeah, we've got 3 seniors back that are doing a great job, and they've really exhibited a lot of leadership, which is something we really preach. And, we've got the JV kids moving up, as you mentioned. And, the thing about, they had a great season at the JV level. It is a different level come at the varsity level. It's totally more athletic, more disciplined basketball, and there's a lot more strength involved. And so far, I've really liked what I've seen out of our juniors. They're working extremely hard, and they're going to provide a lot of depth. There's about 7 or 8 of those guys are going to play, along with our 3 seniors. We're going to have more depth than we've had in a long time, and that helps a lot. Not even so much in how many you're going to play on a night, but if you have an injury or if you have something else going on, you can plug in pretty quickly. And Coach Long did an excellent job with those guys, as he always does, and he gets them ready. And we just try to keep working our tails off. And I think those juniors are really going to have a good season along with our seniors as well. I really liked what I've seen so far.
Sure, and you got some seniors, as you mentioned. I believe, is Sam Turner one of your seniors this year?
Yeah, Sam Turner, Landon Woods, David Baker, and those guys have really done, as well as I could foresee them doing so far. They've really had some good practices, and the leadership aspect is what I've really liked. I think you've got to have somebody on the floor. There's games we play and they can't even hear me from over there. It's so loud, and you need some leadership on the floor and some guys that want to be in key situations to step up. And I think we're going to have that, and we haven't had that in a little while. And if they'll do what I think they're capable of doing, we could be real competitive.
Yeah, and those three guys are solid guys for you. I know Landon Woods does a lot at the point. David Baker, he kind of does anything you need him to do on the floor, and Sam's going to provide you some size. So there's some three key guys that'll be in senior roles this year. So you got a strong group there with your senior class.
Definitely. Landon's as good as they come on the ball defense. I mean, we play mostly man. We do make some adjustments depending on the team we play. But we're predominantly probably 85-90% man, and Landon's as good as on the ball defender as there is. He's really tenacious on the ball, and David's going to be a scoring machine. I think he has really worked hard, and he texts me about every day, wanting to know if he can get in the gym, and even if we're not up there at practice. So and Sam is strengthened up some. He, I think if he really plays hard all the time, he's gonna have a real good season as well. And like you mentioned, you had those juniors long ago with those guys. We've got a real solid team, and even under that, we've got several good sophomores that if we had to have them, they could plug in. I mean, I think our JV is going to be really good again, and Coach Long, as I mentioned, does an excellent job with those guys, and they're always ready to play. And they work extremely hard, and I really think they're going to have another good year.
Coaches Terry McVeigh, have you ever had a team that's this deep?
It's been a while. It's been several years back, and I typically don't. I like to play 7 or 8 kids as a core, but I think we can even maybe go beyond that to an extent, and also, plug some guys in. We maybe even, I think it's going to help intensity-wise that we can keep up the intensity the entire game, even though you want that and you preach that regardless of the situation, whether you got 5 kids that can play or not. I think it will help us have a just added amount of depth that can help us keep that intensity level up that we want.
Coach, this is Tommy Jacobs. How you been, buddy?
Doing good. How are you, Tommy?
Doing good. Listen, it's always fun to watch your team play, and those guys you mentioned, they are going to prove to be great leaders. And one young man that I want to say something, he may be a junior, maybe a sophomore, Ellenberg. I watched him play last year on a JV, and I tell you what, I was really impressed with that young man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a sophomore. He's a left-handed sophomore, and I think he's going to have a good year at the JV level. And we've got a couple other really solid sophomores as well. The Vernon kid can shoot it well, and Sparks kid's really come along, and he's shooting the ball well. And as I said, I can't say enough about Coach Long and the job he does, because those guys are always ready, and when I get them, all I got to do is wave my hand around a little bit, and they do what they're supposed to do. So I'm really fortunate to have somebody that takes as much pride in Bernie as what I try to do, and it's just a good situation. And those juniors are just, there's not a whole lot of difference in them. I mean, you won't see. I think the Jennings kid's going to really be having a good offensive year. He's really shot the ball well of late, and the other guys along with him, there's just not a whole lot of difference in them. They're all, you take one out, put another one in, you're not going to drop off. And I think that's what's going to help us keep, stay competitive. But, we have to have that because the entire area is just real solid. I mean, there's nobody on our schedule where you could look at and say, gosh, well, this is going to be a little easier night, because it's not. We could get beat by anybody on any night, and I know that's cliche, but it definitely is true when you look up and down our schedule of the teams we play. Very, very tough schedule, which is what we like. I mean, we've got Sykeston, Notre Dame on there. We love to compete against those bigger schools, just to see where we stand. And we're gonna do everything we can every single night to try to come out with a win.
Well, I agree with you. And boy, that district going to be loaded down there this year. Or up here at Bloomfield, I think it's at Bloomfield. It's going to be loaded.
Oh yeah, it's nasty. I mean, there's no telling. I mean, just about everybody in that district is solid, and you could easily have a tremendous season and lose out in the first or second round of districts. It's that good. Coach Irby talked earlier. I think he's right on the money. Whoever's playing the best at that time of the year is going to come out of there and has a chance to go a long way. I mean, I think you're going to face as good a teams in our district as what you'll see any of the rest of the way. So, we've got a hotbed of basketball right here, and it should be entertaining for the fans to see, and we're looking forward to getting started.
All right, we'll be looking forward to it. That Campbell tournament's going to be fun to watch. Brad, as you're the number 1 seed, and it's going to be competitive, as it will be throughout the year. Going to be competitive in the Stoddard County as well, so we'll be looking forward to the Bernie Mules this year and seeing what y'all put on the floor. And we appreciate you spending some time with us this morning.
You bet. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Sure. And as he mentioned, that's what everybody's going to be looking at is those younger guys coming up, and those 3 solid guys he's got there: Landon Wood, Sam Turner, and David Baker. So it's going to be a good combination.
I mean, he's got a good core to start with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if he didn't have all this exceptional JV team coming up, he's got a good core to start with. And that could be a pretty good team. You just take those 3 and fill in a couple of role players.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got like he says, he's got probably 9 or 10 players he can play. And at the pace they like to play. Right. The defensive intensity that Bernie puts on you, it's good to have all those players because they're so intense, but he can just bring them in waves. I think Bernie's going to be really, really good this year.
Yeah, they should be fun to watch. So we'll see.
And I have always admired Bernie's program, because when you come into that program, it's no cakewalk. You're going to work, and those kids buy into that program, and that's just year after year. They're putting 9, 10, 12 kids deep on the bench, and those kids stay there. The very last kid on the bench works as hard in practice as anybody else. Yeah. And I think that's great. And so somebody in Bernie's doing a great job.
Yeah, they're going to, and he was talking about the kids he has that's shooting the ball well, but those guys that shoot the ball well play defense because otherwise they wouldn't be on the floor from Bernie.
Exactly. And I think Brad Botch and the coaching staff down there, not only Brad, but his coaching staff, some of the best you'll find.
Yeah, they do it right down there. So we'll be looking forward to the Bernie Mules as well this year. And guys, we appreciate you stopping by with us today, spending time with us, and we'll be seeing a lot of each other throughout the years. These guys do a lot with us in our televised basketball games, and Bloomfield tournament's right around the corner. We'll be there.
Ready.
And we're ready already. So guys, appreciate you coming on today, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all down the road.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll be back with more. Don't go away.
I wanna stay connected to you. I like the way you do what you do. Alright, okay, you're fine.
Call Audubell Hearing Center at 1-800-499-8786 or visit one of our locations in Dexter and Poplar Bluff, Missouri today.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, ensuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding, and even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
And now we're along with David Jenkins of the Standard Democrat. And David, it's an exciting time, and now we're going to talk about the larger schools, SEMO Conference, and what they're going to be bringing back.
All right.
And before we get into that, let's go to these preseason state rankings for Missouri, and we'll get into that talk. And starting out with Class 1, we've got Drexel, the preseason number 1, 2 South Iron, 3 Glasgow, 4 Medville, 5 Eminence, 6 Fairplay, 7 Scott County Central, 8 North Mercer, 9 Bramer, and 10 Marion County. In Class 2, we've got Billings at number 1, 2 Salisbury, 3 Ellsbury, 4 West Platte, 5 Oran, 6 Sturgeon, 7 Osceola, 8 Wheaton, 9 Bernie, and 10 Sacred Heart. In Class 3, we got Charleston at number 1, the defending Class 3 champs, 2 Hogan Prep, 3 Lutheran North, 4 Mount Vernon, 5 Maplewood Richmond Heights, 6 Madison Prep, 7 Southern Boone, 8 Higginsville, 9 Fatima, and 10 Crothersville, rounding out the top 10 in Class 3. And in Class 4, Sykeston on top at number 1 in the preseason, 2 Liberty North, 3 Jeff City Helias, 4 Grandview, Kansas City, 5 Duchesne, 6 Hillcrest, 7 Lafayette out of St. Joseph, 8 Westminster, 9 Cape Central, and 10 Mexico. Now in Class 5, we've got Nix at number 1, 2 Rock Bridge, 3 Christian Brothers College, 4 McClure North, 5 Leaf Summit West, 6 Desmet, 7 Kickapoo, 8 Blue Springs South, 9 Hazelwood Central, and 10 McClure. And those are your preseason rankings for the state of Missouri. We've seen quite a few teams there in Southeast Missouri into those preseason rankings.
It's the way it always is. Every year seems like Southeast Missouri is kind of the hotbed of high school basketball.
Sure, and looking at Class 3, Class 4, Charleston number 1, Sykeston at number 1, they play out in the same conference here in Southeast Missouri.
Right, and it's SEMO Conference is going to be tough again this year, and those two are going to be the head of the class by far, I think, this year.
Yeah, and Charleston got a decisive win last night, opened up the River Bend last night. And what can you talk about the Blue Jays, what they bring back this year?
Well, they only bring back a couple starters, but they're going to be about 9 or 10 guys deep. They had a great JV last year. They're going to bring those guys back, and of course they got Ryan Parham, who's been their point guard. Seems like he's been there 8 years, but he's a senior this year. Probably one of the best defenders in the area. He can handle the ball. Great point guards. They're going to ask him to score a little more this year, which he did yesterday. And then they've got Sumner Foster, who's inside. He's going to start this year, and about 6'3", 6'4", real lanky, can jump out of the gym, rebound well, shoot it. And they've got a whole host of guys like that. They got a lot of guys that they're going to rebound a lot better. They may not shoot as well as they did last year, but they're going to rebound better and they're going to play better defense. So they may actually be a better team than they were last year, won state title. So they're going to be really tough.
Yeah, and they won that Class 3 state title last year, and Greg Tucker was the big name, and he's moved on, playing at Northern Colorado this year. And Parham, I've always been impressed with him. He's been steady, and he's been one of the main players, but he's really going to be able to flourish this year.
Right. They're going to look to him to be the leader this year. He's kind of had Greg Tucker to pass to in years past, and other guys step up. But this year it's his team. and they're looking to him, and he knows it, and he's just a heck of a player. And like I said, he's probably one of the best guards as far as defenders in the area. Usually guards the other team's best scorer, and he's just a terrific player, and he's going to, he's shown it already. He had a great game yesterday. So.
Yeah, so we can expect big things from the Blue Jays this year.
Yeah, they're going to be the top of that SEMO conference. They're top seed in the SEMO conference tournament here in a couple of weeks, and it was very deserving. And I think it's going to come down between them and Sykes in it for the SEMO conference this year. And they played a lot in the summer, kind of traded jabs all summer long in the summer league. So we'll see how it plays out.
Sure. And Sykes in at number 1 in Class 4, and they've been getting a lot of love in the polls the past couple of years. I guess that's what happens when you go undefeated and win a state championship. But and they had a good season last year, just fell a little short in the playoffs. And looks like they've got a great team coming back this year again.
They do. They've got a lot back. They're going to be about 10 deep as they usually are. They'll play their pressure defense. They'll full court press the entire game. Run 5 guys in. Just back and forth. It's kind of like hockey line changes. They'll keep it fresh. They'll wear you down. In the second half, usually teams are just dragging. And they've got scoring. They shoot the ball really well. Vashawn Ruffin's back, who's a good scorer. They're going to move him from the 2 guard to the point, and he'll handle that real well. He's a good shooter, can pass it very well, handles it well. JT Jones is back. He's a junior, 6'3". He's their biggest player, but he rebounds very well. Very tough inside, very strong, physical. And then they've just got a whole host of guys who are just interchangeable that are about 6 foot, 6'1", that can shoot it and guard and get up and down the floor. Very athletic. They're not real tall. But usually the tall teams they play, they'll just wear them down and wear them out. And so by the end of the game, it really doesn't matter. So
I remember the 2010, the undefeated championship team, very balanced team, inside, outside. And last year it was like a complete change. They were really outside oriented, depended on the 3 ball a lot, and hit at a high rate.
Right.
But quite a bit of different team between 2010 2011. Are we looking more at a 2011 team than 2010 team this year?
They're still going to be outside shooters. So a lot of outside shooting from this team. A lot of guys can hit the 3. They don't have a whole lot inside. Like I said, JT Jones is probably their main guy inside. But they got a lot of guys who can just hit shots, and they've added Tyler Anderson, who's played baseball and stuff, kind of made his name in baseball. He's coming out to play basketball this year. He's about 6'2", give him some size inside a little bit, but they're mostly going to be outside shooters, and they can shoot it well. They'll move the ball around, and for a small team, they'll rebound well too. But outside is going to be their bread and butter.
Sure, and they can knock it down out there. They
can.
It's nothing for them to hit double-digit 3-pointers in
Right.
a game. So they shoot it well from the outside, and you always defend depend on them to defend well. And they press.
Right. They
probably have one of the best presses.
Right. They'll get after you from the moment you inbound the ball to the time they steal it back. They're all on top of you, and their offense comes from their defense. So they get a lot of steals and a lot of easy layups that way. So.
Okay. And taking a look at some other teams, Matter County Central had an impressive win yesterday, and this is a team that might be coming up and making some noise.
They're getting better. They had a really down year a couple years ago. Last year, they're still kind of down, but they're getting a little bit better. They've got a good sophomore class led by Willie Jimerson, who is just a heck of a little player. He's about 5'9", 5'10", but he makes things happen. Can jump out of the gym. They said he had a slam yesterday, and he's a really, really good player. And they've got a good sophomore class, and Coach Day has them going the right way. And this may not be their year, but they're getting a lot better, and they'll be a tough team to handle in the next couple of years.
Sure. Yeah, they're consistently getting better, and got some better players moving up that can certainly help that out.
A good younger group. Sophomore class is really good. Some good freshmen coming up too. So they're the future looks really good for them.
Sure. And some other teams to look at. Notre Dame, what are they going to be bringing back this year?
Notre Dame, they're young. They lost everything from last year. Just lost everything. But I saw them play in the summer, and they can shoot it. They got a lot of these sophomores and juniors, but they can just shoot the lights out. Maybe one of the best shooting Notre Dame teams I've seen, and that's saying a lot because they've had some really good shooting teams. I think they're maybe a year or two away, but they'll have the ability to beat some people this year with their shooting, and they don't have a ton of size, but no 6'7", 6'8" kids like they've had in the past. But but I think they're real young. They play with a lot of energy, and I think they're going to be a good team. And they could beat some people during the course of the season, but next year, kind of look for them to kind of come on really strong because they're mostly sophomores this year that they're going to be playing. So.
Okay, a little younger team, but Notre Dame, they're always competitive.
Yeah, they're never going to be down. A down year for them is still over 500. So they're always going to be good.
Sure. And some other teams. Has Kennett moved into the CMO conference?
Next year.
Next year. Okay, I knew that they announced it. I didn't know if it was this year or next year, but that's going to be certainly more competition into that.
Right, it's going to make
Kennett getting in.
Right, it'll make the conference even tougher. They were in it a few years ago with Crowsville as well, and it was a 10-team conference, and it was a really good conference. And then Crowsville dropped out, and now they're back in it, and it makes it a really tough conference. Most of the schools in the SEMO conference already play Kennett anyway, so it won't be anything new, but just another team to battle for that championship every year.
Sure, and looking at some of the other teams in the area, the Stoddard County Conference is going to be pretty much wide open this year. Dexter's really had some bad luck. Some of their players that they were counting on won't even be in the mix this year. Cody Nelton, in football injury, he's going to be out of the season. For basketball, they're really going to depend on him to be a playmaker for them, and he's out. And I think they suffered another injury here.
Yeah, they've lost a couple kids. I think Chase Young's out for a while with a leg injury, and I've heard Jonathan Page is out for a while. And they were going to be young anyway. They lost their two top scorers from last year, so it may be a tough year for them, especially to start when they wait for these guys to come back. And of course, Nelton's gone for the entire year, so it may be a tough start for them. It's usually a tough start for them anyway. I think they open with Charleston and Sykeston, and play Charleston to open up the SEMO Conference tournament. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody, really.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough start.
Yeah, it's a rough start for anybody. So they may struggle at the beginning.
Sure, and that Stoddard County Conference, we mentioned Bernie's going to be tough in there.
Yeah, they're going to be really good.
Advance is going to be there in the mix. They've really come on here the past few years. They've been competitive.
They've got Coach Halford does a good job with them. They've got it's just a good conference this year. Bernie's going to be outstanding, I think. Advance will be good. I think Puxico's going to be better with Coach Walker over there, and it's just going to be a tough conference, top to bottom. Bluefield's going to be good. So you've got, it's going to be a strong year for the Stoddard County Conference.
Sure. And you'll go back up here shortly with the SEMO. What can we expect from Poplar Bluff and Jackson this year?
Jackson will be really good. They've got, they had played a lot of sophomores last year that will be coming up and be juniors this year. They're tall, 6'8", a couple 6'7", a couple 6'5". Carson King's a 6'5". He's top scorer back. He's going to be a junior, 6'5", kind of a two-guard or a three, and he's can score from anywhere on the floor. I'm sure he's going to be getting a lot of looks from colleges. He's just an outstanding player, and they're going to be tough. They'll give someone like Sykeston trouble because of their size, just outstanding size, and if they can just handle the pressure. Poplar Bluff, you don't know a whole lot about Poplar Bluff. New coach, new system in there, so you really don't know what you're going to get from them. But I'm sure Coach Sturgeon will have them going, and they'll be a tough team to beat. Poplar Bluff's always plays tough. You just really don't know what kind of system they're going to be running or anything yet. And then of course you got Cape Central, who's state ranked.
Yeah, no, that's a team I was going to get to. Cape Central.
They're a lot of young guards. They may struggle at the beginning, but they're going to be very good by the end of the year. I think they've got 3 freshman guards on their roster to start, and so but they can play. I saw them play in the summer, and they're really good. And they got some size. Jamal Cox is back. He's 6'6", junior. He's just a heck of a player. Played some last year. A lot of people remember him, and so they're they're going to be very good too. So
yeah, it's one team that. Cape Central has really come on in the past few years in all sports. Football, they had a impressive run in football, now in basketball, and it's good to see. And they're going to be down in Class 4 this year, and that's going to be a much more competitive Class 4. We're used to seeing Sykeston and Notre Dame go at it each year.
Sykeston and Notre Dame the last 9 years have played for the championship, so it may be a little bit different this year. You got Cape Central and Kennett both in there. And that's going to make that for a very tough district, and it'll be here at Dexter, so a lot of people can get out and watch it. it's going to be a. I think Cape Central is really going to be going good by the end of the year. Like I said, those freshman guards are going to mature as the year goes on. They're going to be really good, and of course Notre Dame, like I said, they can shoot. They can beat anybody on any given night with the way they shoot the ball. Sykes will be good. Kennett, you guys have already talked about Kennett and how good they're going to be this year. And so that's 4 very, very good teams, and looking forward to that district tournament this year.
It'll be a more fun or better district tournament to watch. You know, you kind of have to wait the championship game to get any good games there.
Right.
So the semifinals is really going to be fun to watch.
Right.
Those 4 teams.
It's going to be a lot like the Class 3's been the last few years with those. Those semifinal games have been just as tough as the championship game is going to be. Class 4 is going to be that way this year, where it's going to be really tough, and seeding is going to play a lot into it too. I think but you're still going to have to beat somebody good in that semifinal. You're not going to get just an easy way into the championship like it's kind of been the last few years. So I'm looking forward to that tournament. It's going to be a great tournament.
Sure will be. And let's talk a little bit about Scott County Central. They've got, is it 3 state championships they've won in a row? Or is it 4?
10. I
can't remember. It's 3 or 4.
You lose track after a while, and they're going to be good again this year. They lost a lot last year, but they've got some kids back this year. Jalen Porter's back, and they're a tough team.
Lorentus Banks, I really thought was a big time player last year as a sophomore, and he's back as a junior.
And he's going to be even better this year. Of course, they're in the gym all summer long, and some other kids from their JV team are going to step up, and they're going to be tough to beat. They are every year. Every year you think, well, this is the year that run stops, but no, it's going to continue, and they're going to be very good at the end of the year. They're going to be there. I know they've got a tough district. I think Oran's in their district this year, but
is Oran in 2? I think Oran's in 2 because they played Hayti last year.
Oran dropped down.
They're dropped down. Okay.
It's I'm not. I may be wrong there, but I'm wanting to say that Oran's in their district, but it's going to be a tough district for them. For Scott Central, but they're still going to be. I think they're still going to be there at the end, and because they're all those guys have played in it. They've all been in the state championships and stuff, and that's all they know down there is basketball. So they'll be good again.
Yeah, got a new coach this year. Kenya Wright moved on, and is it Frank Staples?
Frank Staples, he's been the assistant there the last few years under Kenyon, and so they won't miss a beat. They'll run the same system, same press, same everything, and. They're going to be very good. Just different faces.
Yeah,
different faces.
That's what they said. Last year's team, it was a great season for them because those kids, they were counted out from the beginning. They were written off. Say, okay, Scott County's done with the run, and a lot of these kids are younger. You talk about Porter and Banks. They didn't really have a senior-dominated team. I mean, they had Dominique Porter that was their main senior, and was it Stewart? The other one, was that Lamarcus Stewart? Yeah, yes. Lamarcus Stewart was their seniors. But these guys, probably not a player over 5'11", 6 foot, and were counted out. And they had a you look at the record, 10, 11 losses they had last year.
Yeah, I think they lost.
Had double-digit losses.
And
they were written off and. They made a great run and had some tough games there at state to win that state championship, and the fashion that they won it too. They had to play their best basketball to win, and they did in the biggest moments.
Well, the first years in a while, they actually had to earn it once they got there. Usually once they got to the playoffs, they kind of rolled. But last year, they earned it, and these younger guys that they learned how to win in those big games and everything, and that's just going to help them this year. There's some tough teams in front of them, but I still expect to see them back in Columbia there whenever it's all said and done because they just do it every year.
Yeah.
And like you said, you count them out, and that's just the wrong thing to do because they're going to be there at the end. So
yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Class 1's going to be probably more competitive. Just Scott County comes down a little bit from last year. But Risco's going to really miss out on the opportunity if they could have brought that class back. They graduated a lot of seniors. They're going to be competitive, but it's kind of a bad break for them on the year. If they would have brought that class back this year, that would have been a really good opportunity for them. But That's just the way it falls.
There's some good teams. South Iron is good.
Yeah, South Iron's way up there in the Class 1 poll.
They're going to be good. Eminence is good. I think that's who Scott Central beat in the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken, last year. But there's a lot of good teams will be in front of them. But Class 1 is going to be very competitive. But Scott Central, you've got to talk about them when you talk about the top teams in Class 1. You've got to.
Yeah, and they're there in the top 10 once again this year, and should make some waves once again. So, is there anything I'm missing out on here that I might need to be picking up on?
I don't think so.
Yeah, some coaching changes that we might not have mentioned. Is there any new faces anywhere that I may be overlooking?
I think we've got them all. I think we've pretty much hit on everything today with this big show. It's been a good show.
Yeah, it's been a lot to get to. We got trying to bring as much information to our viewers as we can. So we'll see, making sure I'm not missing anything here. I think we pretty much hit on everything that we have. So it's going to be a fun year once again. I know we got some tournaments to kick off here, and then the next week we got the SEMO Conference Tournament. Always fun to watch, and it's going to be a great year, I think. And we say this every year, but there's a lot of stories to look at. You look at Charleston, well, they're going to be able to defend their championship. Sykeston, well, they're going to come back and compete for a state title again. You look, the smaller schools, out of that Class 2, that little nucleus there of 4 or 5 teams. Who's going to come out of there? And
tough district there.
Who's going to make
whoever comes out of there has got a great shot to get all the way to the championship too. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's always fun there in Class 2. And even on the girls' side, as we mentioned earlier, Dexter got a great chance to make a run with their group of girls, but they're going to have some competition before they get there. But it's going to be a nice.
The district gets tougher for them too. You add Cape Central into it as well, as Notre Dame's always good. So it's going to get tough for them also.
Yeah, so there's quite a few stories to follow throughout the year for both boys and girls basketball here in Southeast Missouri. So we're going to be looking forward to it. And we appreciate you coming by today, David. We always like to having you on. You've been there at the Standard Democrat for many years, and the Standard Democrat's been a great resource for sports here in Southeast Missouri and going back many years. So appreciate everything that you all do there, and we're looking forward to some great basketball, and maybe we can get you in the booth one night with us this year.
Anytime.
All right, we'll be looking forward to it. And Rick, let's go over some a handful of games we got coming up here on YHC to look forward to. This next Tuesday night, we'll start off our Missouri schedule with Charleston at Dexter, live from the Bearcat Event Center. Got the Class 3 defending champs at the Bearcat Event Center. Be live here on YHC, and it'll be Tuesday the 27th. And the Campbell Invitational Tournament Finals the Friday the 30th. And we'll probably replay that over the weekend, but we'll have more details on that this week. And the next week, Crothersville at Kennett will be live from Kennett for that Boot Hill Conference matchup on Tuesday the 4th. And that Thursday the 6th, Delta C7 at Risco live. And the next night, Malden's at Campbell will be replaying. The next week, Tuesday the 11th, we'll have Jackson at Dexter live. Then that Thursday, Hawkham at Hayti on the 13th. And the 14th on that Friday, we'll be down in Rector for Marmaduke at Rector. So some handful of games to look forward to here on YHC. So look forward to that in the upcoming weeks here in high school basketball. And we're looking forward to it. And hopefully you join us each Saturday right here on the Roundtable as we go through this season. And hopefully you'll join us throughout the week as well on the Sports Zone. And we'll be talking more high school basketball as the weeks develop here in Southeast Missouri. And again, Dave, we appreciate your time and look forward to another great year.
Yep, it's going to be a good one.
All right, and we appreciate you for tuning in. We had a lot for you today, and we promised that, so hopefully you stuck around for everything that we had, and we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be seeing you down the road. Take care.